ballyhoo back there. We can catch some of those and maybe try to catch a sailfish with them later.
Yeah, we could do that. It's gonna have to, this wind's gonna have to drop off a lot. Maybe it will though, that was the forecast, right?
Yep.
There's big sprays right there.
Where?
Big sprays right here.
Okay, got it. Look at that, wow. Wow, look at that. That's sailfish. See how they're keeping going? That's definitely sailfish.
Oh! Yeah!
Come on, come on. Oh! He ate it. He ate it. He ate it. Nice, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I thought you said you had to...
got him, relax.
Oh, dude, he just ripped my boat off. Oh! Awesome. Look at that big boy. Woo!
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, with Captain Tom Rowland and Captain Rich Tudor.
We'd been out there, you know, fishing every day in the backcountry. We've been catching tarpon, bonefish, permanent. It'd been really good. And then all of a sudden I look at the forecast and there's this big north wind coming. And I mean, and it's like, what is there to do? I'm like, well, what about your spots in the Lower Keys? Man. Just, you know, leaving from here at Hawks Cay, you know, this north wind, it's a rough ride in the backcountry. It's really nice right out here. You know, our islands are blocking that wind. So, you know, when we talk about what could we do, the first thing that pops in my mind is going out to the patch reefs. You know, I look forward to that. Something on when it's blowing out of the north. Not only is it sheltered, it's only, you know, these first few patch reefs only a mile from shore. The islands are blocking the wind. So in our bay boat, that's really comfortable, nice and easy. And then from there, as it calms down, you know, we can head out to the deep reef and look for the bigger fish. So there's some big rocks in there. We lobster on these rocks, Tom.
Yeah?
And last time I dove here, there was an 80-pound Goliath and this one little coral head right there.
Good. You can catch him.
Usually see some decent-sized snappers and there's some mackerel come around.
Good. Well, this is a perfect thing to do on this north wind, and it's it actually got a little bit more east.
Yeah. You know, I had a bunch of these patch reefs marked, ones that we've been catching lobster on. So I had a lot of them marked, and I knew there's going to be some fish on them, especially in the winter here when we get that cold front. It seems like more and more bigger fish move out to those patches. So we got out there, hit that first spot, chumming with the pilchers, just getting the whole ecosystem going. You know, and you went right to your go-to jig head with a pilcher on it, and it didn't take you long, and you had a fish on.
There we go.
Got a bite? What is it?
Something kind of small, but it's something. Bent rod. Makes me a happy man.
It's mangrove.
Nice mangrove.
There you go.
All right. All we need to do is find his larger brethren.
Got ballyhoo back there. We can catch some of those. And maybe try to catch a sailfish with them later.
Yeah, we could do that. It's gonna have to, this wind's gonna have to drop off a lot. Maybe it will though. That was the forecast, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if it does, maybe they start spraying.
Yeah, there's so much bait around right now. Look, we literally just put the chum bag out, and here's a swarm of ballyhoo behind us, and it's been a lot of sailfish around.
If the water's less than, I don't know, maybe 20 feet deep, that's probably what I'm going to go to. You know, just the jig head and just a light leader, and you know, we're using the same rods we're catching bonefish and permit on, just a 7-foot, 8 to 17 pound St. Croix rod with a 3 or a 4,000 Daiwa Saltus reel. That's our go-to setup for most things, and it works just fine if you take it out to the patch reefs, and you can catch anything from a small snapper to, you know, a 40 or 50 pound Goliath grouper you could probably handle on something like that.
Using that jig head?
Yeah. There he is.
That's that grouper, I'll bet. Or mutt.
With all these rocks, no matter what size they are.
What is it?
Good snapper.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's a stud.
That is a good one, man.
Yeah, man.
That's my favorite snapper to eat, for sure, 100%. I love the gray snapper.
It was interesting. We heard the ballyhoo were everywhere, and it didn't take long for that first spot. The ballyhoo came up all over the place. You know, catching those ballyhoo is really, you know, the key to a lot of stuff. The mutton snappers are out there eating them, groupers, everything is feeding on those ballyhoo. So we managed to get the net out, catch a few ballyhoo, And once we had those, I knew I wanted to switch right over to fishing with the ballyhoo. So I just got the cutting board out, took some of those ballyhoo, and just cut them into chunks, you know, plugs they call them. What I like to do there is have it, you know, too big of a piece for the small snappers to eat. Yeah. Too big for the grunts and other things, you know, just a big chunk. Sometimes I'll even go with a whole ballyhoo, just cut his tail off, because I know that the biggest snappers and groupers, the buttons for really big mangroves, they'll be able to get that whole ballyhoo choked down there, but the little ones won't.
There he is. Go. Could be a good fish right there.
Ballyhoo chunk.
Could be good.
Everything's feeding on the ballyhoo right now. First cast of that chunk, and it's a good fish. I'll bet it's a grouper.
What is it?
I don't know. Oh, mutton!
Nice little mutton.
Yeah. So that's what's going on, man. The ballyhoo are here, and everything wants to eat them, including nice mutton snappers, mangroves, and a sailfish will be after them too. We get out a little deeper. Nice.
Yep. I can feel that wind dropping off. It's a good fish right there.
Yeah, man. That was the first cast with a chunk. And they are so beautiful, the coloration. Golly. I love those guys.
Good work. Let's get a bigger one.
Wow, look at that. That's sailfish. See how they're keeping going? That's definitely sailfish.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you in part by Hawks Cay Resort, the only key you'll need. Lowrance, America's #1 fish finder. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Yeti, built for the wild. And by Hook, Power Pole, St. Croix Rods, and Vibe.
Something's on there. What do you got? Electric eel?
Look at that.
Oh, you do have something too.
Little mutton.
Well, you've been calling it. You said you wanted to catch a mutton snapper. That's a decent one too. I'm getting some little nibbles here.
That was on almost an entire ballyhoo.
Yeah.
They want the ballyhoo.
I had just seen Scott Walker the night before, and Scott is, I mean, he's my go-to for who, you know, if you want to know what's going on offshore, I call Scott Walker. And Scott says, hey man, there are so many ballyhoo off the reef that, you know, I've been out there fishing with him doing this to where the sailfish push the ballyhoo, they make these big sprays or showers, and you can actually run up there and maybe, you know, see the fish and throw a bait to them and actually catch them. And that's one of his favorite things to do. And so Scott's like, hey man, you know, if it gets calm enough to where you could do it in your bay boat, run out there and, you know, just see what you can find. And so we had that kind of in the back of our mind. You know, we get out there in the morning and it's definitely too much wind. Too much wind for us to go out there and you know, you could do it, but you got to always remember, you know, you're in a bay boat. I mean, that boat is incredible and it'll do some things that other boats won't, but it's a low-sided boat. You take a couple over the bow, you could get yourself in trouble. So you have to be wise if you're going to go offshore. And you know, we wanted to wait at least for the sea conditions to get a little bit better. So we go out there and we start doing the patch reef fishing. You know, let's use these pilchards, let's maybe catch some snappers, let's catch some groupers, and then we're positioned, if the wind does drop, we're positioned to go on out there and give it a try.
Get him!
That's a good one.
Looks like a heavy fish.
Dang it. I might come out. He's came out.
Good work. Smells of grouper.
Yeah. Probably a grouper. Could be a mutton too. Plug a ballyhoo, man.
Pretty good fish though.
Those ballyhoo, man. Everything's eating them.
Nice.
Grouper! Yeah, man.
Gag.
Nice. Pretty cool.
The gag. That's a nice one. The coloration's a little bit different than
See, that blue on the bottom of his fin seems to be an indicator too.
But they're close to the black grouper. So the wind seems to be dying off we wanted to, could run out there and see if we
Yeah.
you might find one of those sprays of ballyhoo. There sure are plenty of ballyhoo around here.
Yeah, I think a good chance we could run around out there and maybe see a sailfish.
Well, I'd like to try that. That'd be fun.
Let's do it.
I mean, there's certainly no guarantee in that kind of fishing. That's kind of a crapshoot, but if it's happening,
They've been out there this whole week. I've heard guys saying they've been seeing tons of ballyhoo, the big giant showers, and sailfish chasing them, and good chance we could get on one. The wind, not only was it dropping off, but it was clocking around, and so we had really, a good scenario where it lightened up, it was clocking around, so it wasn't so hard to run against. And then once we got out there, really what we were doing is just covering ground. We're just running, no reason to stop, no reason to look for anything. We were just trying to see if we could, one, get into where the ballyhoo schools were. We'd heard between, up north, from Islamorada all the way up to Key Largo, every one of those reefs, from Conch Reef to Molasses Reef, all that area, there have just been giant schools of ballyhoo pushed in there. And then as those ballyhoo move closer to the edge of the reef, out into that 30, 40 feet of water, those sailfish are coming in out of the deep, out of that 100-foot, and they're just running through those schools and showering them everywhere. So that's what we were looking for. It was a pretty good ride. We just kind of rode up the road there, looking, got up in the tower and just looking, you were looking from down below, and I actually think you were seeing the ballyhoo showers better from down low. You'd see that sunlight on them. I was looking in the water trying to see the fish themselves sometimes, and it didn't take long. All of a sudden, there it was, first shower.
there's big sprays right there.
Where?
Big sprays right here.
Okay, got it. Look at that, wow.
That's what I was seeing out there.
Wow, look at that. That's sailfish. See how they're keeping going? That's definitely sailfish.
All you need to do really is to see it happen once to give you enough confidence of, okay, we're able to move around out here safely. The wind's continued to drop and clock around. It's getting calmer. But when you're coming from fishing in 12 inches of water to going and fishing in, off the reef, there's still this moment of kind of like, is this right? Is this wrong? I mean, I see the other boats are kind of doing the same thing, but you actually see it, and then you're like, okay, we can do this.
Right in the water, right there. You see that spray? The sailfish right on the surface there. See it? We saw that first spray, and when we saw it from a distance, you could tell it was sailfish, because usually when it sprays up and then they go again and again, usually that's sailfish chasing. That spray went, and as soon as we got up there, I saw him as clear as can be. There he was, right there by the boat, and we just weren't quite ready. Threw a bait out in front of him. He didn't eat, and he just kind of swam off, but it was so exciting. I mean, we went out there to see that. We saw the shower ballyhoo. We pulled up there, and there was a sailfish. See how they kept going? That's,
Yeah.
like you said, the kingfish with that one where they just shower and then go away. Come on, where are you? What's exciting about that type of fishing, probably more exciting than almost anything you do, is it's a fleeting moment. It's boring, you're riding around, you don't see anything, and all of a sudden, there it is, the bird's coming down, the ballyhoo are spraying, it's happening right there, and it's a race. It's a lot of fun. Put the hammer down as fast as you can get to them. If you don't get there quick, it's over, and you missed your opportunity. And a couple times we got there just a little bit late, and the sailfish had already swum off, or he'd eaten a few ballyhoo and sunk down. But man, a couple times we got in there, and they're spraying. We saw that black fish up there eating. It was so cool. And it's a race. There was another boat one time beating us to a spray. We ran in there. He ran in there at the same time. We're both casting at the same fish. Right under the bird.
Got him. See it.
Right. He's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, Tom. Straight towards that boat. Straight towards the boat. Short, real short. Right under the bow. Reeled in. You're on him. He's looking at it. I'm around you. I need to come around you. He's going to eat yours. Neither one of us ended up getting a bite, but it was certainly exciting. Both of us putting baits in front of him and watching him eat some of the other baits. So visual, so exciting, and just like a fleeting moment that you've got to get there right when it's happening.
I see it. I see the fish. I see him. I see the fish. I can't reach him.
The other thing we saw out there, besides the showers of ballyhoo with the sailfish chasing them, we saw these showers of ballyhoo and bait just popping everywhere with yellow jacks and blue runners chasing them. I mean, we saw a couple of these giant masses of jacks going crazy on the surface, chasing bait and everything, and there was these yellow jacks in there, the same ones that we were catching inshore, these nice sized, beautiful yellow jacks in there chasing these ballyhoo around in 100 feet of water. That made for a cool action. We started throwing out a few pilchards, and next thing you know, they're popping all around and frenzying. I mean, it was just chaos for a few minutes. I was getting cut off by mackerel. I mean, it was just such amount of life in such a small area. Fish on!
Fish on. Pull's pretty good.
Maybe it's a sailfish. Maybe it'll come up jumping.
It's not a sailfish. I can pretty much tell you that. But beyond that, I don't really have a guess yet. Oh, yeah, big old yellow jack. Look at that. Nice one.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
Eat him for dinner. I got cut off twice.
Yeah?
Must be kingfisher.
Well, I like the yellow jack. Inshore or offshore, I like the yellow jack. So we get a lot of questions about the go-to reel. If you only had one reel to choose from, what would it be? And this is mostly for fishing for redfish, snook, bonefish, small tarpon, jacks, the many different species that we have in the Florida Keys. And there is really a go-to outfit that I have, and it's either going to be a 3 or a 4,000 size reel. And what I'm looking for in one of these 3 or 4,000 size reel, I'm going to step up to the 4,000 if I want a little bit more line capacity, the 3,000 if I want a little bit lighter outfit, and I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of the line capacity. But what I'm looking for in these type of reels is one that is going to be super durable, that's going to stand up to all kinds of abuse. And I mean, in a charter boat, these things might get stepped on, they might get dropped. You can't worry about that. Salt is going to be all over them, so you need a reel that's going to be able to handle those kind of conditions. The Daiwa Saltiste 3,000 and 4,000 back bay, man, this is the standard for inshore fishermen because it has all of these factors that I like. This has a stainless steel bail, so if it gets stepped on, man, this thing is actually really durable. Somebody could step on it, somebody could drop it. It's not going to be the end of the world. It can be covered in salt water often with general maintenance. This reel is going to last you a long time. I'm looking for a reel that I'm going to be able to use braid for the most part, and I like to use 15 or 20 pound braid, and I'm going to be able to get, you know, 150 to 200 yards of braid on a reel like this. That's plenty for fishing up against the mangroves. It's plenty for fishing for bonefish. And if I'm going to step up to permit, you know, you might come a little closer to an empty spool, but you're going to have a really light outfit. I want a reel that's going to last me a long time. And when somebody asks me, what is the reel that you would choose for your go-to reel? I'm saying it's the Daiwa Back Bay Saltiste 3,000 or 4,000.
The Hawks Cay Saltwater Experience, presented by Yellowfin, is brought to you in part by Yellowfin, only in a Yellowfin. Mercury Marine, go boldly. Motor Guide. And by Daiwa, Ameritrail, Nikon, B&W Trailer Hitches, and Florida Marine Tracks.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the show. You know, we'd like to get to know you better, carry on the conversation, and the best way to do that is follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
People go crazy for the sailfish. I mean, For a lot of the charter fishermen around here, and for a lot of fishermen, I mean, the sailfish is their fish. That is absolutely the one that gets their heart racing, and that's what they want to do. Scott Walker's a perfect example. I mean, he loves the sailfish, and if he can't catch them on the sprays, then he's hoping for tailing situations. And if he can't catch them tailing, then he's putting the kites up. And if he can't catch them with the kites, then he might be trolling something or flatliner, chumming like Steve Roger does down in Key West. But the sailfish is one of the most popular fish in the ocean because they're available. It's available to people in a lot of different kinds of boats. I mean, here we are in a little bay boat. We saw a skiff out there. Everything from the giant sport fishers to a 26 or whatever you may have, you have a chance of catching a sailfish. And they're really one of the most beautiful fish that we have. And I was just hoping that we would just see one. Catching one would be great. Going out there and just seeing one, you know, having spent the last week or two fishing in the backcountry, just seeing one was gonna make my day. And that happened right away. Now let's see if we can actually catch one. And it doesn't always go the way that you want it to.
It was exciting though. I mean, for me, what I was encouraged to see on this trip is how many ballyhoo are out there. I mean, that is an incredibly healthy reef. There's so much bait. There's such, I mean, you know, when I was in my 20s, I was mating on these charter boats out of Whale Harbor. We would spend 4 hours trying to catch a dozen ballyhoo to go fishing with. I remember that. And something's changed, whether you know, there's not as many commercial fishermen, whether the reef's healthy, whatever it is, but there is so much bait out there right now. And there's so much activity. Everything's eating them, from the mutton snappers, the groupers, the mangrove snappers, the mackerels, jacks, yellow jacks, and then the sailfish. I mean, it's just, everything's feeding on these ballyhoo. It's a very, very healthy population.